What's up, folks? We're coming in hot with new intel and insight from Hasbro on the G.I. Joe Classified series. In today's episode, we're going to reveal the current top 10 best classified figures of the year so far. Are brand new characters on the way? What's the driving force behind how G.I. Joe Classified is planned each year? And what did Hasbro's G.I. Joe team reveal about Steeler and Shortfuse? We've got answers on all of that and a lot more. Watch until the end for all the latest updates and insight from the G.I. Joe Classified team. And remember, when it comes to G.I. Joe insight, clarity, and consistent quality, there's no substitute for the real thing. We bring you news and entertainment without any corporate bootlicking, softball treatment, or selling out. Before we get started, if you're not yet subscribed to VIPER Island, now is the perfect time to join the largest G.I. Joe audience on the planet. Subscribe today so you don't miss an episode or any of our insight, research, and opinions. First up, we're closing in on the end of the year, which means it's time to take stock of where things stand in G.I. Joe Classified. At year's end, we'll reveal our official top 10 figures of 2025. But today, we're looking at the current standings. Keep in mind, this list is based only on what's been released so far. Several heavy hitters are still on the way, so expect the final rankings to shift a little. As new figures drop, we'll revisit this list to see who makes the cut. So let's run it down. Reverse order from number 10 down to number 1. In the number 10 spot, it's the Search and Rescue Firefighter. Built off the stellar Snowjob mold, this one delivers a strikingly realistic look, a quiet standout that adds depth to the line. At number 9, Darklon. Vintage accurate and menacing, Darklon arrives with excellent sculpt work and a masked head portrait that captures the essence of the character. Number 8, Heavy Duty. A true deluxe entry, packed with accessories and a front-loader mech device that makes him one of the most loaded figures of the year. Number 7, Monkey Wrench. The Dreadnought with swagger. He's gritty, charismatic, and one of the most personality-driven figures in Classified to date. Number 6, the Retro Cobra Viper. This is the definitive take on an all-time iconic Cobra character. This is the Viper you've been waiting for. Number 5, Major Blood. Yes, it's a redeco, but when the base figure is already one of the best Classified releases ever, it still lands in the top 5. Don't be surprised if this climbs even higher by year's end. At number 4, Crystal Ball. This is the true wildcard of the year, a forgotten character reimagined into relevance, with glowing green dire technology woven into his design. It's creative, risky, and it pays off. At number 3, Law & Order. A pitch-perfect update. Law's new gear setup is practical and smart, while Order joins Timber, Junkyard, and Freedom as an instant classic companion. Together, Law & Order are serious contenders for Figure of the Year. At number 2, Battle Armor Cobra Commander. This is an iconic version brought back to life. Faithful to the 1986 classic, this is arguably one of the most popular designs for Cobra Commander, and it delivers. Now, in the top spot for Best Figure of the Year so far, Snake Eyes and Polar Bear. This is one of the most ambitious Classified sets to date. Snake Eyes gets a fresh radioactive twist, and pairing him with a massive polar bear creates a set that feels historic for longtime fans, complete with callbacks to the mask device and the Worms of Death episode. Easily the frontrunner for Figure of the Year. So as things stand, that's how the top 10 stacks up right now. But here's the big question for you. Do Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear have the lasting power to finish the year at number 1? Or will Law & Order, Battle Armor Cobra Commander, or another surprise contender swoop in? Sound off in the comments with your thoughts. What's been your favorite figure of 2025 so far? And don't forget, more releases are still on the horizon, which means this list could look very different by December. Hit the like button, and stay tuned to VIPER Island for complete coverage of G.I. Joe Classified. If you're enjoying this, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed. Next, 2 more Original 13 members are on the way, and Hasbro made sure to pack in the details. In a recent interview, Lenny confirmed that Steeler and Shortfuse stick closely to their vintage designs, although Shortfuse has received some smart updates. His backpack now has built-in storage for the mortar, and the tripod can fold up and stow away neatly. a functional touch that keeps the figure true to character while adding modern classified engineering. Lenny also pointed out that Shortfuse's glasses are fully compatible with his helmet, meaning they fit underneath without any issue. Tony also doubled down on that, saying that the G.I. Joe design team made sure that the glasses and helmet combo would work exactly the way that fans would want it to. Meanwhile, Steeler comes with a helmet visor that flips up. Lenny also said that because of the way it's molded, the visor creates a slight magnifying effect, making his eyes look a little larger through the plastic. The 2-pack of Steeler and Shortfuse will be a Target exclusive, with pre-orders opening later this fall. So, will you be adding these two to your roster, or are you being more selective with your G.I. Joe Classified pickups? Let us know in the comments. Next, when it comes to planning the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro team recently explained that their process starts with one thing: budget. Lenny's explained that the team sets their financial limits first, then works backwards, deciding what can be tooled, what gets greenlit, and what has to wait. This includes deciding when to reuse existing parts and pieces from other figures to save on costs. This allows them to offer more each year than they'd otherwise be able to if every figure was molded using all new parts and pieces. This is why there's so much reuse in the line. That said, it's not always a rigid game plan. According to Lenny from the G.I. Joe team, audibles can happen, lineups can change midstream, and they've already called several on the fly. Flexibility is part of the process. This has been the case since early on in Classified, when the Hasbro team pivoted away from futuristic designs based on the Operation Blackout video game, and leaned all the way into vintage and retro designs instead. This postponed the releases of figures like Storm Shadow, Sci-Fi, and Dr. Mindbender, who were all part of the original plans for the Operation Blackout video game figures, and were all later given vintage-inspired designs instead. Things can often change without any notice, and we recently saw this happen with the Legacy ESU police officer being quietly delayed. As for how many people are working on the G.I. Joe Classified series at Hasbro, Lenny and Tony from the G.I. Joe team revealed that the design team has 5 members, including both Lenny and Tony. On the marketing side, B-Mac handles the G.I. Joe messaging, and Emily now only leads G.I. Joe's HasLab projects. Next, in a recent interview, Tony from the G.I. Joe team said their goal with Classified is to make every Joe in the history of G.I. Joe, and then add some new ones. Meanwhile, Lenny said that G.I. Joe is a very archetypal brand, so they try to consider what would be exciting to have in a 6-inch scale. And for more on that, let's head into our next topic. Could Classified be gearing up for liftoff into space? When asked about space-themed figures during a recent interview, Lenny and Tony did not close the door. In fact, they hinted it's very much on the table for the future, even if nothing's planned right now. Of course, they can't speak about upcoming releases. And if G.I. Joe Classified does go cosmic, the first candidate is obvious: Payload, the astronaut who debuted in 1987 as the pilot of the massive Defiant space vehicle complex. A decorated Air Force pilot turned shuttle commander, Payload brought NASA-level realism to the line while expanding G.I. Joe into uncharted territory. Let us know if you'd be interested in space-themed characters or vehicles for G.I. Joe Classified. Would you want a 1/12 scale Defiant? Or would you just prefer some astronaut Joes and Cobras? Or none of the above? Wherever you sit on this topic, let us know in the comments down below. Next, here's a quick look at the remaining 2025 G.I. Joe Classified lineup. There are only 2 items left to reveal. And then here's our 2026 lineup, including some of our predictions. As part of our prediction series, we're sharing parts of our private list. These are figures we believe will join Classified by the end of 2026. It's speculation mixed with things we've learned along the way, and most of these follow the Hasbro playbook. Let's explain why these are good options for G.I. Joe Classified. Mutt and Junkyard are next in line for the Mad Marauders theme. The blue, green, and brown colorway for this theme works extremely well with Mutt's design. Junkyard will likely have a blue vest this time around, and keep in mind, Mutt and Junkyard were one of the best releases of 2024, so this would immediately become one of the best sub-team releases to date, and especially on the Mad Marauders line. Many feel that the Marauders colorway looks better than Mutt's original colors. Let us know which version of Mutt and Junkyard you prefer. If you're enjoying this, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed. Next up, we have an unboxing and review of a brand new G.I. Joe Classified figure.
Let's see who it is.
be
Snake
good.
Eyes. It's Snake Eyes and the polar bear.
Oh, man. We've been waiting for this one. I'm pretty excited. How about you, Dex?
Yeah, I'm so excited for this one.
Whoa, that guy looks huge. This is how it comes. You got everything in a plastic clamshell and then the rest in the box. So while Dex is putting the polar bear together, let's talk about this set. Snake Eyes comes decked out in a radioactive glow that illuminates under black light, and this is complete with 3 sets of glowing hands and 1 standard pair. It's a repaint of retro Snake Eyes, but the glow gimmick adds a dynamic edge that makes the figure feel entirely new. Fans who remember how quickly the color-changing Master of Disguise Zartan became a grail piece for Classified fans know that this kind of unique feature adds long-term collector value. And this set is stacked with nostalgic and thoughtful extras. This includes the vintage laser rifle from the cartoon, the bear trap which caught Timber, a radioactive canister, a red crystal in a clear display case, 3 sets of glowing hands, 1 set of normal hands, a handgun and a knife, and the polar bear has 2 different head portraits. There's also an extra shoulder panel with arrows lodged in it. This is a reference to the cartoon. God, you're not joking about the tape they put on these things now.
So annoying. This polar bear is huge. Like, everything about him is just, it's so big.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 9 inches long. And it looks like it could be bigger.
It's at least a pound. Look how big it is.
Yeah, this is one of the heaviest packages for G.I. Joe Classified that we've had so far that didn't include a vehicle. Yeah, look at those paws.
Yeah.
The detail on the polar bear is outstanding. What I find interesting is comparing it to other animal companions in the line. Like, here we got Fiona, which to date has been the biggest animal. The tail's going to give it some size.
I wouldn't call the tail extra length, though, because look at the difference on this.
Yeah, the body is a big, massive difference.
If you stretch him out, he's definitely longer.
At least around the same size. Fiona's a little longer. Either way, this polar bear rocks.
It can stand on its own.
Lenny and Tony from the Hasbro team said that the polar bear was designed so that it could stand on its hind legs, just like in the cartoon. It's on the screen right now, and you see the polar bear on his hind legs, and now check that out. That's insane.
Yeah.
Right? This has nothing to do with G.I. Joe, aside from a reference to a cartoon episode. Never saw the polar bear ever again, and here we've got it, and it might be one of the most impressive things to come out of the G.I. Joe Classified series. And then, in terms of Snake Eyes, this guy's no joke. Like, it's a repaint of the retro card Snake Eyes. We didn't get that. We never actually even had an opportunity to get that one. That was through Walmart during the first run of the retro card back series when it was exclusive to just Walmart. We got the repaint of that figure. It's also based on the Alpha Commando Snake Eyes. And we got these extra sets of hands. The glow-in-the-dark hands, the more I look at them, the more I realize these came out with the first figure of Classified, 00 Snake Eyes. So there's a whole bunch of reuse here. Then on top of that, you got the crystal here for the mass device and the radioactive canister. The laser rifle is very nicely painted with black and silver. It's simple, but I appreciate those extra touches. Doesn't look like there's anywhere to store the rifle though. And the visor on this guy, look at that, metallic purple.
It looks really good.
So good.
I'm a fan of the colors that he has on him.
Right? You got black, purple, and then like a dark navy that's got some purple in it. Overall, really good Snake Eyes figure, but the star of the show here, that polar bear. Plus we got the trap, so we can use timber, set up the whole scene. This is basically what this is from. So overall, I'd say this isn't even just a repaint, this is an experience.
It's a really good figure. I like both of the figures that it comes with.
Yeah. How would you compare this to the other Snake Eyes that we've got in the Classified series?
This one's a little bit more plain on like the chest because it's just a straight t-shirt basically for the chest. But I like all the colors he has on him, especially the glowing hands. I like a lot.
I wasn't totally sold on those, but now that we have it in hand, definitely liking the glow-in-the-dark parts a lot more than I thought I would. And let me check out this bear. Whoa! Yeah, this guy is a lot heavier than I thought he'd be. My goodness, what are we doing here? Fantastic paint. Oh my god, all over the inside of the mouth. Insane. His tongue is like a brown. This is insane. So the combination of the glowing feature, the detailed accessories that have been included here, and the massive presence of the polar bear altogether makes this an outstanding offering for the G.I. Joe Classified series. The perfect blend of nostalgia, innovation, and display potential. Especially all thanks to this guy, like wow. And that Snake Eyes too, he's gonna look really good.
For the polar bear, it looks really realistic, the head sculpt, especially with all the different like scars, even all the like different gradients he has on him. Yeah, he's got a lot of wrinkles too, so you can tell it's like an old polar bear, especially above like the eyes and like the forehead. Basically, there's a bunch of like wrinkles there.
Yeah, and it really shows off the expression on his face too. Very aggressive looking. Which head sculpt do you prefer?
I prefer the mouth wide open one. It looks a lot cooler.
Yeah, where he's roaring.
Yeah,
it looks so cool. So between the polar bear and this pretty damn good Snake Eyes, are we looking at the best figure of 2025?
I think it might be. I don't know what could top this. It'll be hard.
The polar bear, now that we have it in hand and I see how heavy it is, this is solid plastic. Seeing that, I think, puts it over.
Yeah, it's a really good figure. I can't really think of any other figures that could beat this, though.
The good thing is, it's from that cartoon episode where he's escaping from the cave and he's holding this canister in his hands, which is why his hands are glowing from radiation.
The glow-in-the-dark hands, though, it reminds me a lot of Zartan.
Do you want to see more of that type of thing, like color-changing skin for Zartan, maybe Xandar?
It was cool, the color-changing skin, but I'm not the biggest fan of it, because the character looks a little bit more like bluish at all times.
A little bit.
He never looks like it doesn't look like he has a skin tone. It just kind of looks like a blueberry the whole time.
It's like a grayish blue.
Yeah.
But I don't mind, because it makes him look not human. And I kind of dig that about the Zartan. So Dex, out of 10, what would you give Snake Eyes and the polar bear?
I'd give him a 9.5. It's a really good figure. I'm a big fan of it.
I'm going to go with a 9.6, just to beat you by 1. But I agree. Same thing. This is a really good figure. I don't think we're going to be putting this guy down anytime soon. Oh my god. I mean, like, and the legs are like stiff articulation almost, which I want. It's just a hefty guy here.
It's probably going to be pretty high up for figure of the year, though.
Yeah, I think it's right now the front runner. We'll see how things look in December. But until then, keep watching, stay locked on Viper Island, and we'll see you guys next time. And there you have it. You've made it to the end of this episode, and we really appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. And we would love it even more if you take just 1 second of your time. Make sure that down below you are subscribed to the channel. We ask that you do, because that guarantees that we definitely get to see you back here again next time. Thanks for tuning into Viper Island, your one-stop shop for all things G.I. Joe. When there's relevant news, we'll be here to discuss all of it, together with you. Thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, have a great day, and yo Joe!